I am clearly not home. This is my apology video for being so far behind. I think I'm close to 3 weeks anyway, if not a month, since I've done a video. So I had a couple weeks holidays, ended up doing some renos. What else did I do? I bought a motorcycle, so any nice day I pretty much go out riding. And then today is the opening day of fishing season. So I determined I needed a new way of doing this. Because as it is today, I had this mental debate in my head about whether or not I am going to go fishing. It's opening day. I go fishing every opening day. Or am I going to go for a ride because it's freaking gorgeous out? So I opted for fishing because it's tradition, and I've got a lot of good riding in and not had any fishing in quite some time. So I de-winterized the boat this morning and headed out. So I figured I would do double duty. So I'm gonna have to get creative in how I do things. So we are gonna do our video out on the lake. So I'm obviously on the drive there now. But I thought, this is a great way to kill two birds with one stone. So today we are going to be talking about the Marquis. It is the clone, Marquis clone. I would love to have the authentic Marquis, but it's expensive. And it's also super limited and rare, not rare. One place you can buy it, and they're really small runs. I think they've only done 2 so far, of 1,000. I don't know if that second one's done yet, and if they have any plans on doing any more. So I went with the clone. It's got some issues, and it's got some really stellar points. So we're going to talk about that when we're out in the lake. I'm really hoping I can manage wind noise. If we end up not cutting to the lake, you're going to know that I couldn't manage the wind noise, and I will have done this somewhere else. So the travel. We're using the Atlantis on the drive in. So yeah, let me. I'm almost there. I'll launch. We'll get out, get set up with my lines, and I will see you. Well, you'll see me in a second. I'll be back at you as soon as I can. Alright, we're on the lake. I apologize, I have to use front-facing camera, so hopefully the quality's not too bad when you blow it up bigger than a phone screen. Figured I'd anchor quickly and pound this out a little bit. So we're going to do an up-close. I'll do that back at home, so you'll see that shortly. But we'll probably end with the up-close just so I don't have to do multiple takes of this. It'd be a little bit easier. I am on the lake. I do want to be fishing. So we are talking about the Marquis. Pretty plain looking atomizer, but pretty cool as well. So like I said in the sort of little intro, this is a clone. The authentic is $145 and it's available, as far as I can tell, only from Avid Vapor, and that's US. So for me, it's getting too close to $200 for an atomizer. So the clone I bought from JG Vape. So I was pretty darn happy when I saw that there was a clone out there. I was kind of waiting for this one. There's some unique things about it, which we'll see in the up close and personal. So maybe I will put it in the middle. We'll see. We'll see where the up close personal goes. So quickly, let's just have a quick vape. Now obviously outside, it's going to be tough to tell the vapor. This is a flavor chasing atomizer. Without a doubt, it's designed for flavor. And it is actually really good with vapor. It is amazing with flavor, like to the point that I have never had flavor like this out of any atomizer ever. I have the Plume Veil and I have the Veritas. I like them both. They're probably my best flavor atomizers. But this is a whole nother level. And I don't really know why, but it's awesome nonetheless. So let's have another quick vape because it's so good. Right now I'm vaping a V-God. I don't know anything else about it because it's sitting somewhere in the boat. I got it from example box. I think it's in my last shipment. It's pretty good. It's fruity. I don't really know what it is. Berry, maybe some melon, stuff like that. But it's good. And it's really good in this. I'm really hoping the wind's not too bad. I don't want to make this too long because like I said before, I want to be fishing. So I do have a line at least in the water, but it's probably not going to catch anything because it's, you know, just sitting there. So what makes it awesome? As you're going to see in the up close, the center post, the positive post, and how it works is really unique. It's also one of the big downsides of the clone, and we'll talk about that shortly. It is a sort of a half atomizer, if you want to call it that, in that it's not a bottom deck. Half of it is just still the aluminum block, and these air holes actually run through that block to hit directly on your coil. So you want to talk about a reduced chamber. It's only half of that, and it's a standard 22 mil. So I'll also show you in the up close. I really like how the drip tip piece works. It's kind of cool, kind of unique, and it actually fits the, you can take this whole unit out, hopefully I remember to show this in the up close, and the Mutation X, the wide bore drip tip, actually fits inside there. Kind of cool. That doesn't fit well, and this isn't an atomizer you really need a drip tip like that for, but if you know you like that shape, then it's kind of cool. That size, you know, if you like, that's what you like drawing on. So yeah, negatives, and it's clone related only. The positive post, the screw that's in there, they seem to have used just whatever screw is lying around from other atomizers that they make, and I want to say this is from King 2. I don't remember who makes it, but they seem to just use any random screw. And when I show you that center post, you're going to see what I mean. It needs to be like a washer screw with a washer built in, so it fills up that entire space. This doesn't, which makes the convenience of building with that center post completely gone. It's completely lost because you can't just wrap it around one of those tines and then screw it down. And in this one I have a dual coil, and that dual coil both wrap around the same screw, and it's a pain in the butt to keep it tight. What is this? What build? Oh God, sunlight. Show me. It's a 0.41 ohm. I am vaping it at 44.5 watts, and it's somewhere around 4.2 volts. For some reason, my screen doesn't want to stay on. Whether it's on or not, it vapes, so that's all I care about. Yeah, so it's fantastic. I'll try to give you more points when I do the up close and personal when I get home, but it's an amazing atomizer. It is hands down my new favorite atomizer. And for a clone with its odd issues, it is enough to make me want to buy. I will pick up the authentic. Should I be able to find it? Should the Canadian dollar come down? Should I have a little bit of extra money laying around? It's an atomizer I'll pick up because, man, I love this thing, and if the authentic's even a little bit better than the clone, that's amazing. So there it is. That's the Marquis. This is my video. I'm gonna go back and try and catch some fish. Have a good one, guys. All right, I'm back from the lake. Let's do the up close. I'm pretty well planned actually today. I took it all apart so you get to see it for real, and we'll do a quick build on it. I'm probably not going to film the build. I'll just kind of show you it in steps, save a little time. I am continuing with the phone, being that's what I started recording on, and I don't want the video to kind of get all screwy with using different sources, so we're continuing with the phone. Hopefully the audio is still okay. All right, so this is the Marquis. This is everything you get in the kit. It comes with a set of sort of drip tip attachments, and I'll show you how that works in a moment. Your outer sort of sleeve slash airflow, the main unit, the deck, and as you can see, I mentioned it's like a half design. This is just for airflow. It's solid aluminum. This essentially, you got just a half deck. And then you've got some building tools, which are kind of cool, which is why we're going to show the build. So let's start with kind of putting it together. So bit of a close-up here. So as you can see, you've got one center pin and your two negatives. Your airflow runs straight through here, and in the very bottom, you see those two holes. That's where these come in. Oh, I just dropped one. So they clip right in there. So as you're setting your coils, and they come in 4 different sizes, it helps keep them straight up in front of those airflow holes as you're securing down your wire. The downside to this one is, and I think I mentioned when I was out on the lake, is that the clone is a little wonky, and they seem to have actually kind of, I don't know, it's like they just recycled their old screws they had lying around, because inside, what makes this amazing is that little crown on the top. So when you're setting your wire, you can just kind of wrap it around one of those tines, and if you're doing a dual coil, you know, one on this side and then one over on this side. I need a little pointer. So you could just wrap one around that tine, just kind of bring it up and loop it around and pull it tight, and do the same over here. And it's quite easy then to pull those two tight. The downside is with the clone, this screw, when screwed down, you can see very clearly, it does not go right to the edge. And so even with 26 gauge wire, which is what I'm going to build with today, it doesn't grab it. It's just screws right down and your wires are totally loose. Where the Authentic has kind of like a washer screw where it's wider, and it pretty much takes up that entire inside, so that you don't have to worry about really wrapping around the screw. You simply just wrap it around one of these little sort of tines on the crown, and then just screw it down, and it works. It looks like it works amazing. Obviously this is a clone. I've never used the Authentic, but that was what drew me to this, and that is lacking on here. So I'm actually kind of hoping I might be able to find a screw that will work with that, and I haven't tried yet. One of the things I really like about the Marquis is the fact that it's completely plain. Your outer sleeve, besides your airflow holes, is just the stainless steel. I dig that. On the inside, you've got a little bit of logoing, you know, some scroll work there, and then on the sort of the biggest of these three, that what I would call the drip tip, it just has an M on it, and that's it. So how do these drip tips work? Let's pop that down. So there is here a little Delrin sort of insert, and it's the piece that actually connects in here. And then from there you can choose whether or not you want to use this sort of short but nice wide bore drip tip, or 2 different, oops, that's the bottom, 2 different heights, oh my gosh, of sort of drip tip adapters. I wouldn't say, this one's not big enough, I don't think, to really, that's small. You couldn't use that as a drip tip. At least I wouldn't. And then one that's pretty much flush. So what happens is there's threads, these are all threaded on the bottom, and then that just screws in. So say I wanted to use my own drip tip, screw that in. Do I have one around? I only have the one from the Derringer. You just pop it in. So, and then it pulls out like normal. So for dripping, it's good and easy. The Delrin piece has an O-ring and it just pops in and out. It works great. And if you wanted to change that up and use the intermediate one, so this was quite a shallow drip tip, maybe I wanted a little bit more height, I could just raise it up. I keep going off screen, sorry. So that's screwed on. Now I'm a little bit taller, and then that just pops in. So kind of cool. So however you wanted to do it. For me, whoa, I don't need that anyway. I like the drip tip. I like that you are not decreasing. This is the widest really you can get, because that's still, the drip tip is a 510 connection. So you're not reducing at all, because that is the width of a 510, like a drip tip connector. So that's perfect. So that's what I use. You don't need a wide bore drip tip. You can actually get away with, I didn't keep it handy, but it's right there. I'm gonna knock stuff over. Okay. So with this right out, this is the Mutation X, the version 2. Oops. It's a little tight, but it will actually go in there. It just takes a little pressure. So if you wanted, you could totally go with something like that. It's kind of a pain to use, but I like it. The main thing is that you're not increasing really any airflow. It's just a matter of taste. If you prefer a wider bore drip tip, then you could totally put something like that in there. All right, so when you're setting it up, pop your coils on, and then you're going to line these up. So you've got your 2 airflow holes. I always put them slightly off. I'm not on a device. Let's screw down the base. Just use this. Okay. So you got your 2 airflow holes. I'm going to be doing a dual coil, so we'll assume this is a dual coil. And you pop that on. And then there you've got your airflow holes. They are kind of adjustable. There's not really any point. They don't do much. They're not really designed for that. But if you did want to do a single coil, and you put the center one, over, and your other 2 are blocked off. So you can still do a single coil. And one thing that I noticed, I think it was on Grim Green's video, that if you center, so you got the block that ends off, the very far edge, and use that, then you've still got airflow coming in from the side, hitting your coil. So if that's lined up, you can kind of picture it there. So that's kind of cool, that you can increase the airflow on one coil because those 2 outside ones will still hit the coil. So anyways, kind of neat. So that's it in a nutshell. Let me kind of put this together, and we'll do some fast forwarding. Wow, you can tell I work today. English is not going well. And I'll show you that as we go along. Okay. So this is how it goes when we're setting it up. These guys just clip in the bottom, hold it in place. You want to do your coils opposite directions so that you're able to bring them out in the same direction. So you can see the top of this one goes that way and the top of this one goes that way. Makes it much easier for setting up. And if you can see, this is the pain in the butt with the clone, is that I can't just wrap around the tine right here, right? You can just barely see it there. I can't just wrap around that. I have to wrap around the screw because of all of this space. And I'm trying to do that with 2, which isn't the easiest thing ever. So you want to come in on the front, I can tell you that. If you get too far over here on the sides, you run the risk of shorting out with your wire just clipping this base, because this is all negative. So you want to wrap it around there. So what I do is essentially a big C on each. This one runs over here and out. This one runs over here and out. And then I start with the negatives, because they're easier to secure. So you just hold it, pinch it over to the side. Tighten that down. And because the original screws are actually just that bad, I've actually replaced them with the screws from, I think it's the Troll. Yeah, from the Troll by Wotofo. A little bit flatter bottom screws. They're not the best screws I've ever seen, but they're better than what came on this one. So yeah, so I definitely recommend finding new screws because these ones are awful. I have not found a good top one that would work. This is still just the one from the Troll, and it works fine. It grabs it a little bit better, but it's not the right size. You don't get the benefit yet. So now that those are secured down, I can take my 2, and I'm actually pulling them out to the sides, which this is the hard part, sorry, is being able to pull them both out to the side. So I hold them down, pull some tension, wrap it down. Tension, hold it down, and then now I screw it in and hope to God they don't pop out. I think we're good. But because they're doubled up, you're going to want something you can get, magnet, a little bit more torque on. So I use a bigger mini one. I think we're okay. All right, I'll just give these a quick tighten. Okay. And then we should just be able to twist and tug them, and we'll come back and I'll show you it all set up. All right, so as you can see, I end up just clipping them. I was having some issues just keeping just enough tension for twist and tug. So clipping is no problem. You do have lots of room just to tuck them out of the way, which is nice. And then let's see where we're at. 0.43, I expect that to change. I was aiming for a 0.5. So once we play with them, obviously the coils aren't perfect yet. And we'll go from there. There we go. Good even glowing though. So while that one looks a little funky, It's working. I'm not going to get quite the same surface area because of how it's condensed and twisted, but it'll work. This is a great atomizer, and you can get away with a little bit of a janky build, which this one isn't perfect. All right, we're going to throw some cotton in there, and I'll be back. Yeah. Quick twist on one side. We're going to run that through, and then we're going to take some fine needle nose, just pull that out. Okay, so now that that's out, because we aren't super tight in the coil, we can just keep pushing it down. It's not the easiest, definitely not the most convenient, but it's not difficult. This should not be a deterring factor for a great vape. This one I went a little bit thicker, so we're going to want to pull actually just a little bit out. Okay, we're pretty good. So now what I do is I trim it pretty much right above there. That's it. Give it some tufts. Allows it to catch any juice that's sort of sitting on the top here. It'll get in there anyway. All right, so let's wake it up. What do we want to vape? We're gonna go some Cosmic Fog. The shocker. We've only got a little bit left. All right. I'm gonna start out with the top. Get that good and wet so it can continue to wick down. And now it's time to hit in here. So just rest it right on the coil. You don't want to go crazy right here, like just dumping it on, because you're just going to lose it out the backside there. So just enough to get it wet and saturated, particularly around the coil. Dump some in the middle. All right. Oh, we're too much. I've overdripped. So it's making some good vapor. All right, let's pop the top on. We want dual airflow. All right. There we go. Okay, so we're all set. I'm going to put the built-in sort of drip tip on it, and I'm ready to vape it. And after adjusting the coil, I should make it so you can read it. I would like to point out, I was aiming for 0.5. I'm exactly 0.5. That almost never happens. So that's the finished build. Maybe we'll just quickly go see how we're going to do this. Oh my gosh. Okay, I can't really see myself. I apologize. You're seeing the other side of my room. It's done. This is the build we just built. And out in the boat, you couldn't really see the vapor very well, so we're going to try it here. Hopefully this will show. Backlighting. All right. Flavor's fantastic, as always. And the vapor, for a flavor chasing atomizer, it's off the charts. It's impressive for any atomizer. It's not going to compete with competition mods, but that's good vapor for anything. It's thick, it's dense. I am 0.5 ohms at 44.5 watts. It's warm, it's hot, it's not burning it. Flavor's fantastic, and the vapor's amazing. So with that, a little bit of home FaceTime, we'll leave it. Yeah, it's amazing. If you don't have one, go get one. If you're in Canada, I do know JG Vapes has them. They're cheap. Pick them up. They're totally worth it. And if you can find good screws, let me know where you got them, because I'll be picking up some new ones. All right, thanks guys. See ya.